Hello everyone, and today I will be talking about the French defense. So the French defense is one of the most common responses that black has to white playing e4. So I will now flip the board. And the French defense is characterized by anything that follows after black does e6. It can transpose into some other openings, but it's usually pretty rare. Transpose into some lines of the queen's game, but yeah, again, it's like it's not very common. So the most common response from white after e6 is d4, and this just makes sense because it's the most intuitive. White's trying to control the center as much as possible, and after this, black responds with this. Here, there's a couple things that white can do, and this is pretty much ubiquitous in all variations of the French defense. There's some things that might be out of order, as we'll see, but it always transposes into this kind of pawn structure occurring. The idea is that white tries to preserve their center, or keep control of the center as much as possible, whereas black kind of tries to break it and form a counterattack. If white fails to maintain their center, their pawn structure can become destroyed, and black would have a really nice center control with good piece development. And if black fails, then white would have a dominating center, which kind of encroaches on black's space and leads black to lead a very passive rest of the game. So there's three main variations. This is called the advanced defense, where white plays e5 here. Here, this is like classical, I believe. And here, this is called the exchange. So the most common is this, but a lot of people play this to kind of get out of the front. This is pretty easy. So after this, black has to take. Black should take with the pawn, so white can't get a tempo move. So if this happens, white would get a tempo move. That's not good. So black takes with the pawn, white goes here, black goes here, white goes here, goes here. And this is kind of like a pretty self-explanatory opening sequence where both sides have to develop and you control the center. So white might go somewhere like this, black would do something like this. But besides that, it's just basic like developing your pieces, castle the king, and try to come up with a plan to kind of weaken your opponent. That might be like an attack, controlling the center more, or weakening this pawn. But it should be pretty obvious for what both sides need to do here for the near future. Okay, so going back to the main line where we have this, the next thing that white can do is actually play e5. Like I said, this is advanced. So here black tries to break down this defense by playing c5. This is just so you can undermine this pawn and lead to this like advanced e5 pawn being stranded. White protects this pawn in response. Black continues attacking and white continues defending. Black goes here, and now white usually goes here, and you might say, look, this is just giving up a free pawn, but it's not. There's actually a tactic here. So I recommend everyone to kind of like pause this video for a bit and figure out what happens if black takes this pawn here. Okay, so hopefully you figured it out or you have an idea what happens. But what happens is that black takes, then white takes, then here is where you should stop. But if you decide to take this, now you're like really far into it, so it's still not too late to stop. If you decide to go on and take this knight with the queen, then white goes here with the discover check. You notice, so black has to do something. So black can't block this or take this. So let's just say they move here. Now white takes the queen. So yeah, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't actually just take. You should just keep maintaining the pressure, even though it might seem like there's lots of tension. That's actually a good thing. You want to keep the tension there. You want to keep continuing to develop. So black usually just plays here. White can do a couple things, but just castle. And here you can take it if you want. You can also like do like some kind of plan like this, or keep developing here and keep continuing to develop. You can do a lot of things, but just remember you should try to keep pressuring this pawn. You can take it now if you want to. It's not really an issue with that. Just don't. Yeah, now actually you're threatening it. Sorry. So if you go back here, this is my bad. But if you go back here now, there's no more threat to discover check. So white usually continues to develop. White can go like here. This is not really a good move though. Or they go back here. This is pretty common, just so like the queen defends. And now you can go like this, 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 and white will castle here. Good. So that was my bad, but here. So if the knight goes here, you can sometimes go here and stuff. But usually this will be a relatively closed position. Both sides try to fight for control of the center. So you go back to this kind of core position. Last thing white can do is here. Now black has two options here. Black can either take this, or black can go here. So both of these are valid. So if black takes here and white takes, black can go here, and white would usually go here in response. Now black can do this or this. I would recommend going here. And white could go here. Black could go here. Now white takes. Black takes. White would go here. And black can do something like this. I believe this is called the Rubenstein variation. I actually like this variation. I personally played it a bit, and it's pretty good. It leads to a good game for black and for white. So yeah, it's pretty easy to play. It's not too much to memorize either. It's pretty intuitive. So you just continue, and black can attack this, like this, and like attack the king later on with this bishop they have. And white could also just push this pawn, take control of the center, and just play a good game and try to eke out some sort of weakness in black's position, attack that. But what most people usually play is so if you go back to this position, go back here, and they play this variation, and this is the win hour. So this variation actually has a lot of sub variation that is pretty tactical, or can get pretty tactical, and a lot of the moves are pretty hard to find. So I won't be going into this variation in too much depth. Play continues as this. White can go here, but usually they just like either play this or play this or play this, and they defend this, or they just take this. Sorry, they don't play this, but they can play this, this, or this. And white has a few and later on white can move the queen here to attack this and develop easily, whereas black maintains its pressure. Black usually actually just, instead of moving back here, they should just take it. And now white can do something like this, attack this, or they move up like this, and black goes here. So there's a couple different variations that occur. Sometimes they pretty transpose pretty easily though. So yeah. Otherwise, most of the other variations in the French are kind of minor. But if you enjoy playing a positional game which has a few tactical sequences here and there, but is overall pretty positional and much more defensive and much more of that style, then I would recommend you to play French defenses black, because it is pretty good. It's one of my favorite openings, which is why I've played it for a long time now. But otherwise, If you have any questions, make sure to comment below, and hope to see all of you in the next video.